this world once.
You've got an overdeveloped sense of justice. Do you know where that comes from?
I had no idea how much we would change things.
Okay, we need to make a clarification. Cash Patel was hacked. His email was hacked pre his working as FBI director.
And he's a hack.
Wanted to make sure that we cleared that. We want to have a great day, everyone. Take a little time to enjoy the view. And don't forget, you saw it all weekend. We are not alone. We'll get through this together. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
A fire in Trenton destroyed an inn over the weekend. Good afternoon, I'm Susan Farley. 2 teenagers have been arrested on arson charges, and there's been a decline in Maine's fatal workforce injuries. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on these and other stories coming up. First, let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
Hey, Susan. Happy Monday afternoon. We have a small craft advisory up until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday along the coast. We're watching for some active surf. A winter weather advisory to the north. We're watching for some snow and also some sleet and some freezing rain further off towards the north that will be moving in. For now, we're seeing some precipitation on the radar, but none of this hitting the ground. We will be dry as we do move forward under a mostly cloudy sky. As we do zoom things out, a lot of that precipitation hitting the ground is further off towards the north. We will be okay today under that mostly cloudy sky. So you can see with Futurecast, we are going to stay dry today under that mostly cloudy sky. You might see some precipitation moving around us. So again, today and tonight we're okay. Tomorrow, that wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow will be moving in. The worst of it will be further off towards the north, further down toward the south. It will not be as bad. So we will have some gusty winds up to 20 to 30 miles per hour at times, backing off later on tonight. And then for tomorrow, not as bad, maybe a few sporadic gusts at times. So for today, mostly cloudy and windy, lower 60s today, southwest wind at about 30 miles per hour. Hourly forecast this afternoon. Okay, some clouds with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Susan?
Thank you, Devin. Crews in Trenton were called back to the Open Hearth Inn Sunday morning after a fire rekindled. It's the same inn that caught fire and suffered severe damage to the main building on Saturday. According to the Trenton Volunteer Fire Department, upon arrival, crews found smoke and hot spots in a roof line. They say multiple layers of shingles had been installed on the building over the years, which allowed heat and fire to extend and smolder in concealed areas. The fire department says those areas are now fully extinguished. The inn's co-manager, Christine Coombs, said the fire affected one of the main buildings of the inn where 2 individuals were staying. Those individuals were unharmed and moved to a different location on the property. The Department of Public Safety said the fire appears to have been accidental in nature. However, due to the extent of the damage and structural collapse, the origin and cause of the fire could not be determined. Authorities are actively investigating an aggravated assault that occurred on Court Street in Bangor. The incident happened around 5:30 Sunday morning. According to a spokesperson with the Bangor Police Department, authorities received a report of someone injured in an aggravated assault at a residence on Court Street. According to social media reports, it was a stabbing, although there's no information about what exactly happened or the condition of those involved. Details are limited at this time, but Bangor police say there is no threat to the public. 2 Belfast teenagers have been arrested and charged with arson in connection with a structure fire. According to the Department of Public Safety, the city's fire and police departments were sent to 81 Patterson Hill Road in Belfast early last Friday morning for a reported structure fire. When they arrived, the structure was fully involved. They also located 2 individuals near the scene, 19-year-old Isaac Cummins and Rowan Locke, both of Belfast. An investigation determined the fire was intentionally set. Later that afternoon, Fire Marshal's office investigators charged the 2 19-year-olds with arson. The Department of Public Safety says Cummins and Locke were both transported to the Somerset County Jail. They're being held on $10,000 cash bail. An arrest was made on Friday in connection to a fire at a convenience store in Howland that occurred over 3 years ago. A Penobscot County grand jury indicted 39-year-old Samantha Randall of Howland on arson charges in connection with the fire. According to the Department of Public Safety, back in November of 2022, firefighters responded to a reported structure fire at the Howland Corner Store. First responders confronted active fire conditions and signs of rapid fire development shortly after the store had closed on that Wednesday evening. Authorities say the investigation remains ongoing and additional arrests or charges are expected. 3 people were displaced Sunday after fire tore through a single-family home in Ripley. At around 12:30 Sunday afternoon, the Dexter Fire Department, which covers the Ripley area, was dispatched to the Seavey Road. Upon arrival, officials reported the building was heavily engulfed. The fire was upgraded to a second alarm, triggering mutual aid from neighboring departments in Somerset, Penobscot, and Piscataway counties. According to the Dexter Fire Captain Steve Brown, despite there not being any hydrants in the area, shuttling water from an external source was not necessary. The homeowner told ABC7 Fox 22 their daughter and their animals were the only ones at home at the time of the fire, and they are all safe.
Focusing on a brick building that the folks lived in. It's got a flat roof, heavy fire inside. There's batteries that were running the solar panels is apparently what started the blaze. We're focusing on extinguishing those at this time.
Fire officials say the home is a total loss. The family did not have insurance, but a GoFundMe has been started to support the family. We'll have a link to that on our website, foxbangor.com. There were a total of 19 fatal workforce injuries in Maine in 2024. That's according to a report by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. That number is 8 less from a year prior. Their report also says transportation incidents were the most frequent type of fatal event, accounting for 47% of Maine's fatal work injuries. The construction sector accounted for 6 of Maine's 19 fatal work injuries. 8 workers, 55 and older, died in 2024. The full report is available on our website. Bath Iron Works and union members have approved a new contract. According to BIW spokesperson, union members from the Marine Draftsmen's Association voted to ratify the tentative agreement Saturday morning at Brunswick High School. The new 4-year contract goes into effect immediately. This comes after hundreds of union members went on strike last Monday. A bond package of over $200 million has passed the legislature's Appropriations Committee. Legislative leaders say the money will be invested in Maine's future, and Maine voters might get the final say. Our Callie Warren explains.
This includes everything from housing production to infrastructure to clean water to transportation, rural economy, higher education.
A funding package of $207.5 million has advanced in the legislature, bringing Mainers one step closer to being able to vote on what legislative leaders say are essential funding bonds.
I mean, the reason I'm so passionate about bonds is because it doesn't reach into people's wallets in that way. It takes it, the burden away from people's property taxes or income taxes.
The package includes $65 million in funding for transportation maintenance and upgrades. $45 million is set aside for agriculture, conservation, and forestry to support Maine farmers and foresters. $15 million is allocated to resiliency infrastructure and culverts to reduce storm damage. $20 million is set to fund rural affordable housing and mobile home development, while another $20 million goes to residential sewer and water. $20 million will support the expansion of wastewater treatment systems to protect public health and clean water. The package also sends $18.5 million to the University of Maine system to remove underutilized buildings and invest in campus infrastructure. Additionally, $4 million is allocated to court system infrastructure in the Newport region, something that Newport legislator and lawyer Kenneth Fredette has been consistently advocating for.
And a lot of people just in this part of the state are not comfortable driving to Bangor, going into the big city, so to speak. So, for those people that need emergency protection orders, divorces, all that stuff, it's really critical to them.
The proposal is expected to go in front of the legislature next week. If passed by a 2/3 majority, it will go before Maine voters as a statewide referendum in November, with each funding measure to be voted on separately.
The Maine taxpayers can decide as an entire state what we want to go out and bond and invest on.
Callie Warren reporting for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Coming up on ABC7 News at noon, TSA workers will get their paychecks today for the first time in weeks. We'll be right back.
Don't take take a tiny check for your car wreck, call the twos.
We got a client who fractured their pelvis, a big check for $300,000. Hurt in a car accident? I'm your go-to guy.
Welcome to outdoor living. Welcome to Granville Stone and Hearth. Goodness knows we've been cooped up long enough. Make plans now to enjoy the outside of your home, too. Come to Granville and see, touch, and imagine what you can do in your backyard. Light a path, light a fire, grill a meal, sit a bit. It's all in stock. There's a staycation right outside your door with expert help from Granville, one of the largest outdoor living suppliers in Maine. Granville Stone and Hearth, Main Road, Holden.
Did you know that 50% of the air you breathe in your home is air that comes from Hafford Basement Systems? All things basementy. A wet, damp basement is a real problem. It can damage your valuables, worsen asthma and allergies, and affect indoor air quality. We'll transform your basement into a dry, usable space and improve the health of your entire home. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basementy.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Next Jeopardy, a super champ back in the saddle.
What's the next horizon for you?
Will he ride off into the sunset with $300,000?
What do you want to wager?
Next Jeopardy.
Only on ABC7.
You know, we can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
You're watching ABC7 Bangor.
Now to the Iran war. 50,000 U.S. troops are now in the region, with President Trump setting his sights on oil in Iran. Secretary of State Marco Rubio talking about ABC News about the latest developments. ABC's Karen Travers is at the White House.
In a new post on social media, President Trump says the U.S. is currently engaged in serious discussions with a new and more reasonable regime to end our military operations in Iran. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Good Morning America saying there are people in Iran talking to the U.S. in ways that previous leaders have not.
Some of the things they're willing to do, some of the things they're saying they're willing to do. Obviously, they have to go do it. We're going to test that proposition very strongly because we always prefer to settle things through negotiation and diplomacy.
Secretary Rubio says messages are being relayed through mediators, but wouldn't say who the U.S. is engaging with in Iran.
Well, I'm not going to disclose to you who those people are because it probably would get them in trouble with some other groups of people inside of Iran. Look, there's some fractures going on there internally.
Still, the president on social media this morning threatening to expand U.S. strikes against Iran if negotiations fail. The war with Iran is now entering its 5th week, and the U.S. military presence in the region is growing. 3,500 sailors and Marines from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, equipped with transport and strike fighter aircraft and amphibious assault capabilities, are now in the region. A 2nd Marine unit is expected to arrive in May. The president is not ruling out a ground invasion in Iran.
I just have lots of alternatives. We have tremendous numbers of ships over there. We don't need them all because of, the power.
The White House says it's the job of the Pentagon to make preparations in order to give the commander-in-chief maximum optionality. But Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said these moves do not mean the president has made a decision. Meanwhile, missiles continue raining down on Tehran, and Iran striking back, hitting an Israeli oil refinery in Haifa. President Trump says Iran has agreed to allow 20 more oil tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, a move he says indicates negotiations are going well. Still, oil prices continue to rise. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
TSA workers are expecting their first paychecks today. President Trump ordering the paychecks during the partial government shutdown. Thousands of them have been calling out in record numbers, causing long TSA lines at airports across the country. As ABC's Rena Roy reports, not everyone at DHS will get paid, and Congress has left town for the next 2 weeks.
TSA workers may finally be getting paychecks today as the partial government shutdown becomes the longest in U.S. history.
We're going to pay them for as long as we have to.
President Trump signing a memo to redirect funds to give TSA officers their back pay.
It's good to hear. I mean, the lines have been really chaotic.
On Friday, lawmakers once again failed to agree on ending the partial shutdown, and now they're on a 2-week congressional break. TSA officers have called out in record numbers. On Saturday alone, nearly 3,000 called out. That's more than 10% of the officers. And the TSA says more than 500 officers have quit since this all began. Many say they're struggling to make ends meet.
The mental strain of not going to work or going to work and not getting paid for 3 out of the last 5 months is just unbelievable.
Security lines at BWI Airport outside of Baltimore this morning were much better than what travelers experienced this weekend. Long lines there and at both Houston airports, plus JFK in New York and Atlanta Hartsfield, all operating with more than 30% of TSA officers absent this weekend. Some travelers hiring line sitters.
As I was getting close to the front, I would text the client and say, hey, I'm about 30 minutes out, so then they know to head to the airport.
White House border czar Tom Homan asked in an interview with CNN why Trump didn't pay TSA officers earlier if he always had the power to do so.
I don't understand the whole, appropriations language, appropriations law. I'm just glad that President Trump is able to pay the TSA agents. At least that's a start.
Now, with the DHS still shut down, other Homeland Security workers, including Coast Guard, FEMA, and cybersecurity workers, are still not getting paid. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Over 3,000 protests were held across the country on Saturday for what was called a No Kings National Day of Nonviolent Action. One of those gatherings took place here in Bangor. Thousands lined the streets from the Paul Bunyan statue to West Market Square to voice disapproval of President Trump's administration. The protest was organized by Indivisible Bangor.
It's pretty encouraging, and it's also powerful. We've had a lot of frustration with this current administration, so seeing a lot of people here who feel the same way, it means a lot.
Bangor's protest was one of dozens across the state, including Orono, Calais, Monroe, Dexter, Deer Isle, and more. And one of those locations included Maine's biggest city. A No Kings protest was held at Monument Square in Portland on Saturday. Their protest also included a march through the Old Port. Organizers say they voiced opposition to the war in Iran, ICE, and the ongoing DHS shutdown. A routine select board election in Clifton has turned into a multi-day affair after 2 absentee ballots were discovered outside of the ballot box. Last week, Cynthia Grant was announced to have won by just 1 vote. The thin margin then faced questioning Friday night after 2 additional absentee ballots were discovered in a folder uncounted. Those votes were challenged by a Clifton resident because, according to town manager Stephen Wagner, the absentee ballots were picked up by a candidate or member of the candidate's immediate family.
The 2 ballots were picked up by a candidate who is the father and husband of the 2 people that voted. We're going to move forward.
Those ballots went uncounted because of that challenge, and the candidate could not be held criminally responsible. The election results announced last week will remain valid until or if the Maine Supreme Judicial Court says otherwise. After the break, Bangor area radio stations spent their Saturday trying to help families. We've got details when we return.
I got hurt in a car accident. Why should I call the twos?
Because when you're hurt, you need money. And I don't take tiny checks. I get my clients big checks. I got a client who injured their shoulder, a big check for $275,000. Another client had multiple broken bones, and I also got them a big check for $450,000.
Don't take a tiny check for your car wreck. Call the twos.
I'm your go-to guy.
From the heart of Maine, where rugged beauty meets timeless craftsmanship, Richard Henderson & Sons Masonry, taming the outdoors through groundwork, retaining walls and seawalls, building custom fireplaces that become the centerpiece of your home. crafting granite steps and patios that invite you outdoors, designing hardscapes that turn yards into living spaces, built to last, crafted for life. Richard Henderson and Sons Masonry, quality in every stone.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Acorn Stairlifts has the solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride with an Acorn Stairlift, the world's leader in stairlifts. Don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside. Call Acorn Stairlifts now for a free information kit and no obligation quote. Why risk falling when you can safely ride?
Our Acorn Stairlift is definitely more affordable than moving.
The Acorn Stairlift has a padded seat and backrest. Safety sensors stop the chair if there are obstacles. The seat swivels and locks so you don't twist your body. And the Acorn Stairlift folds away. It even runs during power outages.
I was really surprised at how little it cost.
Call 1-800-732-2971 right now for your free information kit or visit our website today. That's 1-800-732-2971.
Step into a story that's funny, touching, and deeply human. Winterport Open Stage presents The Dining Room by A.R. Gurney. This unique production blends a series of scenes into a heartfelt look at family and tradition. Performances run May 1st, 2nd, 8th, and 9th at 7 p.m., with matinees May 3rd and 10th at 3 p.m. at Samuel Wagner Middle School in Winterport. For tickets, visit winterportopenstage.net or find Winterport Open Stage on Facebook.
It's only been a few weeks since winter officially ended, and now it seems like everyone's looking for recipes to welcome in spring. You know, I can't think of anything more spring-like than a quiche that's loaded with one of the season's best produce picks, asparagus. And if you've never made quiche before, get ready to get blown away. All we do is line a pie plate with a refrigerated pie crust, or you can even use a frozen pie crust that comes right in its own pan. Then we fill it with a mixture of shredded Swiss cheese and white cheddar. As for the cheese, we can buy it pre-shredded or we can shred it ourselves. On top of that, we lay out some lightly blanched or roasted asparagus in the shape of a starburst. And if you're pressed for time, you could always use a package of frozen asparagus spears and no one would even know. It tastes that fresh. Now we finish it off with a mixture of half and half, beaten eggs, and some seasonings before baking it off. Once it cools a bit, we'll cut it into wedges and dig in. Let me tell you, this is one of the creamiest and most flavorful quiches you'll ever try. I really do hope you'll go online and get the recipe for our amazing asparagus quiche as a way to welcome in spring. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fresher and a cheesier way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
With inflation on the rise, affording meals can be tough on Mainers and their families. Bangor area radio stations spent their Saturday stepping in to help. Radio show hosts from Q106.5, Z107.3, 95.7, and I-95 Rocks were at the Brewer Hannaford collecting boxes of pasta, pasta sauce, and cash donations. It's a part of their annual Ton of Pasta event where they attempt to collect 1 ton of pasta for local food pantries.
We do not care if you can donate $1, 1 box. It's so helpful because you don't know if it's your neighbor that needs it, coworker, somebody might need it that you know, and it's so important to help everybody out there.
Sproul estimates the food drive brought in enough pasta to feed over 4,000 Mainers. If you missed the event, but you still want to help Mainers in your community, Sproul encourages you to donate to your local food pantry. When we return, Devin Biggs has your 5-day forecast.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Car accidents can be scary. It can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you. You can't work, you've got expensive medical bills, pain and suffering. absolute chaos. We'll take the stress and frustrations off your shoulders. We've done that for thousands of people, and we're ready to help you too. Hurt in a car accident? I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a fifth-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Let's check your full forecast with Devin Biggs. Devin?
Alrighty, Susan, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory up until 6 a.m. as we head towards your Tuesday. Winter weather advisories to the north for snow, sleet, and freezing rain that will be expected in these areas. Meanwhile, wave heights increasing a bit at around 4 feet according to the buoys, while farther out towards sea, pretty much uniform 4 feet everywhere on this map at this moment in time. Meanwhile, on land, you might see some snow on the radar. It's farther aloft. We're not seeing anything on the ground at this moment in time. We are going to be seeing a nice day for us as we'll be under a mostly cloudy sky with temperatures today that will be in the lower 60s. So definitely going to be a nice one for us as we do move forward today with that mostly cloudy sky. So definitely no snow for us and no precipitation either to worry about. Later on tonight will be mostly cloudy as we head towards your Tuesday. Again, it's going to get active out there. A wintry mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow. The icy precipitation to the north, a little more in the way of rain farther down toward the south. So it will be a mess farther off towards the north. And then here's what we're seeing. That's where the icy precipitation will be. 2/10 in Millinocket, a little bit more to the north. Obviously not as much farther down toward the south, if any. So that means with the snowfall, not as much farther off towards the north, maybe a couple inches up near Caribou, and not as much farther down toward the south, and hardly, if anything, as you head towards the Bangor area. Obviously some gusty winds up to 20 to around 30 miles per hour in our neck of the woods today. Backing off a bit later on tonight, not looking as bad as we head towards your Tuesday, just a few sporadic gusts. So for today, mostly cloudy and windy, lower 60s for the high, southwest wind at about 30 miles per hour. By tonight, mid-30s, mostly cloudy, northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then there's tomorrow. We have upper 30s, rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow, northeast wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center. Some morning rain chances Wednesday, otherwise mostly cloudy with highs in the mid-50s. Then Thursday, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 40s. Good Friday, a wintry mix switching to rain with highs in the low 40s.
We've got a little bit of everything tomorrow. Due to the partial government shutdown, TSA and Coast Guard employees had not received paychecks since February 14th. The community of Trenton stepped in over the weekend to ease the burden. WDEA radio host Chris Popper broadcasted live from Edwards Brothers Supermarket in Trenton to help raise awareness and make a difference. Folks at the supermarket could donate gift cards up to $20 in value or donate cash to be turned into gift cards. TSA agents are not allowed to accept gift cards cards over $20 or any amount of cash. These donations support 7 TSA agents in Trenton, 50 in Bangor, and 90 Coast Guard members.
Listen, people in Maine are so incredibly generous. I have said for 20 plus years, Mainers take care of Mainers and those they love. And it is never more evident in something like this today.
Between the Edwards Brothers donation fundraiser and other donations accepted across Hancock County, Popper says over $2,000 was raised. If you want to support your local TSA agents, he advises that you can leave donations at your local airport. Artisans across Central and Eastern Europe are gathering to take part in a revered Easter tradition, egg decorating. In Leipzig, Germany, as they're hosting their annual Easter egg festival, where eggshells become astounding works of art. This year, 29 German artists are exhibiting their egg decorating techniques, ranging from traditional methods to modern egg art. Decorating smaller eggs can take artisans anywhere from 8 to 10 hours, while crafting the larger ones can take weeks. The event also reflects regional identity and continuity as families pass down methods, patterns, colors, and cultural meaning across generations. Visitors to the event not only experiencing the making of the traditional colorful Easter eggs, but they also have a chance to buy and bring home a unique piece of art. This year, Easter will take place on Sunday, April 5th, and that's this coming Sunday. That's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Farley. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6.
Eric's secret double life and his deviant tendencies.
His former fiancée tells all.
She'd like to make you think that I'm a monster, and she was not involved.
I didn't say that you were. Just a second. I didn't say you were a monster. I said you were a cheater.
And the sordid details.
Are you denying that you were a cheater?
Yeah, actually I am.
Will be exposed.
Well, you want to read the emails that she got?
No, Your Honor.
Want to see the picture she got?
Next, Judge Judy.
Monday at 5 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
The following program is a paid commercial announcement sponsored by Great Healthworks.